ready to go. So again, we're going to talk about lines written in y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope and our b is our y-intercept. Two important things. Can't write the equation unless you have both. So here, from these following examples, we're going to write the equations in slope-intercept form for a line with the given information. What is slope-intercept form again? It's right at the top of your paper.
There's a car station.
So whenever you see this, they're talking about y equals mx plus b.
Yes.
And again, we said m was our what? What's our m again? Slope. What's our b? Y-intercept. We have to have those two things in order to write the equation of the line. Alright? So, in one, we're going to write it in this form. Y equals mx plus b. Did they give us our slope? Yeah. We're going to shake your head. Yeah, they gave us our slope. So we're going to take -4 and write it where the m is. Then, did they give us our b? You said our b was our y-intercept. Did they give us our y-intercept? Yeah. Just take your y-intercept, plug it in for b. The y stays the y, the x stays an x. That easy. We are done. So if they give you your slope, they give you your y-intercept, you just plug them into the right spot. Slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Here's the thing. Did they give us our slope? Oh, they gave us 2 points. So, but we need our slope in order to write the equation of a line. So what can we do to find our slope? Okay. Perfect. Do exactly what we did yesterday. Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and that will give you your slope. Alright, well, go through and label. x1, y1, x2, y2, and plug those values in. When we plug in those values column, what's our top going to look like? What's our top going to look like? And what's our bottom going to look like? Kat, what's our bottom going to look like? What is -3 minus 9? -12 is 0 minus 4. And what must we always do with fractions? Simplify them. So -12 divided by -4 is what? 3. So we found our slope. There's our m. Do we have our b? Yeah, what is it, Ben? -3. Right? This guy right here. That's not always going to be the case. Because remember, the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. That means the x value is always what? 0. So we happen to have our y-intercept on this problem. Just not written in a sentence. It's written as a point. Okay? That's not always going to be the case. It's going to be very rare that you're given your y-intercept. Okay? Mr. Carter is going to show you in number 3 what you need to do if you're not given your y-intercept. Okay? But the only reason why we can use -3 as our y-intercept is because there's a 0 in front of it. We can't use 9 as a y-intercept because there's not a 0, there's a 4. And so then all you have to do, now that we know our y-intercept, we know our b, you just take those values and plug them into the right spot. That's going to stay a y. What do we plug in for m? That stays an x. What are we plugging in for b? That's not always going to be the case.
All right. Yeah, that one wasn't too bad because if you recognize, just like we said, Ben back there, if you have a 0 first, you know that's automatically going to be your y-intercept. But it's not always the case. I.e., number 3 here. So you ask yourself, what do I have? I need 2 things to put in y equals mx plus b. I need the slope and I need the y-intercept. Do I have the slope? I have the slope, right? Good. Do I have the y-intercept? Some people want to say it's 4. I'll say you're wrong because that is not a 0. That first number is not a 0, so that is not the y-intercept. So how do we find it? Again, you need those 2 things, slope and the b value, which is the y-intercept. How do I find it? Well, it's really easy. I'm going to write this at the top so we know. I know you guys have it on your paper, but I don't. But this is the formula we're going to use. Y equals mx plus b. Slope intercept 4. All right, well, good. Well, if you look at that point back there, what does this point represent? What variables does this point represent? Jacob? Got excited there. Well, what do these points represent? They represent, Jake? What? Not necessarily B. They represent a point, but these points, a what and a what? X and Y, right? So this is really an X and a Y, we already found out. Well, if I have this, remember, slope is equal to M. Well, if I look at that formula, there's 4 pieces if you think about it, Y, an M, an X, and a B. I have 3 of the 4 pieces. If I plug this in, I'll solve for that unknown. Let's go ahead and do that. The unknown I don't have is B, so I'd really be solving for B. So watch what we do. Let's plug in a value for Y. What's going to be my Y value there? What's representing Y? What do you say, Cap? 4. So I'm going to say 4 is equal to, what was my slope? 2/3, because that was the first thing it was given to me. 2/3. My X value is, what's my X value? It's up there. No, you have all the pieces. We'll just plug it in. And I don't know the B value. So I'm going to keep that as B. And I can solve for everything else. Take a little step here and solve. Well, the first thing I need to do is what? I need to multiply those. Some of you guys are having little cows right now saying, I hate multiplying fractions. They're not bad, guys. The top number is a 2. I want you to do, what's 2 times 9? 2 times 9 is 18. Last step is divide that by a 3. What's 18 divided by 3? 6. Again, remember, why we do this is a fraction. Anytime you have a number, it's really a fraction over 1. 2 times 9 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6. So I now have 4 is equal to 6 plus B. And I think we all know what to do at this point. Last step is subtract 6. Good call, everybody. Too quiet today. What's 4 minus 6? -2. So I know that B is equal to -2. Awesome. Again, I need 2 things for slope intercept 4. Do I have my slope? Yeah, I already started with it. Do I have my intercept now, my y-intercept? So guess what? I can now get my final answer of this. Go back to my formula. The y and the x go back to y and x, no longer the 9 and 4. So it's going to be y equals, what's my m value? What was my slope? 2/3. I told you that goes back to x. The last thing is my y-intercept. My y-intercept is -2, -2. Everyone take that. And there's our equation that has that slope and includes that point. It's a process you do every time. Questions with that? Let's do one more very similar to this. This next problem, if you can do this next problem, you can do any of these problems. Boom. And the next thing is this. It has little steps over there, too, for finding B. So look what we have. Look what we have. 2.796 -1. Do we have the slope? Do we have y-intercept? No. So we're going to have to find those things. Here's the process, what we do. Find the slope if needed. Since we don't have the slope, we're going to have to find it. What's the formula to find slope? y2 minus y1. Again, you won't know this. You have to memorize this. Over x2 minus x1. And if you have a hard time memorizing that, it's understandable. I always recommend, I don't know if I told you guys yet, get tattoos. And you're asking why. I'll say, why get a tattoo? Because if you guys go on to college or later in your high school career, you're taking a test, the teacher can't tell you to like take your skin off, right? They can tell you write it on your arm, they'll have you erase your arm. But if it's tattooed, what are you gonna do? They'll tell you wear long sleeves. It's hot in here, you gotta roll the sleeves.
You'll have that math problem on the rest of it.
But will you forget it? Because you'll have it forever.
It's a good idea.
It's a great idea. So that's why when I was in college, I got covered in tattoos. I got body sleeves and tattoos right now. You can't see them when I have my shirt off, my short sleeves on, but around my thighs and everywhere else. But I got them. I have tattoos. So this is one I have. That right there is right here in my rib cage. So I'll never forget that one. But this one you can get on there. So there's the formula to find the slope. Well, what's very important I need to do with these points? What should I do with these points? I should plug them in, but how do I know where to plug them in? What's a good thing to help me keep them organized? What's on it? Label them. All right. So this is my x1, y1. This is my first x and y's. x2, y2. There's my second x and y. Well, let's go ahead and plug it in. What's my y2 value? -1. Good. Now, this is my helpful hint to you, because one of the issues is a lot of students tend to mess up the negatives and the positives. They mix them all up. So as soon as you write that first term, put a negative right behind it. Because the formula is always minus the 2. It's always the difference of y. So -1 minus, what's my other y1 value? 9. So -1 minus 9. All right. The next one is this. So I got after that then. Nice. All right. What's my x2 value? Hold on. Thank you for participating. The group effort. Put a minus right behind it. x1 value is 7. Oh, you know, I like it. And we should always try to combine like terms and then simplify a fraction. -1 minus 9 gives me this number. It's negative. It is 10 over -1. Correct. Wait a second. What happens to this fraction? Jason? You got a 10, right? Negative or positive?
Positive?
It is positive. Negative or negative does make it a positive. Very good. So guess what? We just found our slope of 10, or 10 over 1, however you want to think about it. It's 10. Great. Do I have my y-intercept? Don't have my y-intercept. So we're going to do exactly what we did last problem to figure out what it is. What is that step again? Well, I'm going to have to use my formula y equals mx plus b. And I'm going to plug in my slope of 10 and pick one of those points. Emmett, thanks for volunteering. What point do you want to pick to plug in this formula? Again, it doesn't matter. It's up to Emmett at this point. No! Which of these points up there do you want to choose? The 6 and -1? Okay, Emmett picked those points. Let's go with that. So, x and y, let's plug into our formula. So my y value is what? -1 is equal to, now, this is where I'm plugging in my slope. What did we find our slope was? 10. If you want to label this as m, go right ahead if it helps you out. X is 6. 6. And then we got, oh, this might be didn't cross off. What's going on here? 6 plus b. Solvify. 10 times 6 gives me this number. 60. So -1 is equal to 60 plus b. Some of you are already scratching your head right now because you know what the next step is. You're saying, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. What's the next step? Subtract 60, right? I agree. It is -60. -60. And when I do that, that gives me b is equal to -61. It can't equal negative 61, right? But some of you guys are saying that's too large of a number. In the world of number guys, 61, negative 61 is not that large. I know you're used to working with single digits or two-digit numbers that are small in the tens. This is fine. That's acceptable. Now, do I have the slope? Do I have the y-intercept? I got everything I need. Let's last step. Let's plug it into that slope-intercept form. So when I do so, x plus b, y equals, what was the slope? 10. The x is still there. What was my y-intercept? Negative 61. And there is the equation of the line that runs through those points. Questions? If you can do this one, you can do any of them. Cool. I believe in all of you. Ready? Wait 4 seconds. It'll be exactly the same length.